Hi, I'm Lynette and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing volume 2, part 2, the sequel to a video I did a few months back, eyeshadow palettes that I regret buying. Yes, there's more. So a couple of these were supposed to be included in the first video and I forgot about them. And I forgot because I don't ever use them. I don't ever think about them. So, and then as I thought of those, there were more and more that I thought of to include in this video. So I've got quite a few here, quite a few more than I expected to have. So let's get right down to it. One of my more recent purchases, you've seen this palette before if you saw my live haul. I did a live haul a few months back. And this one is from Dandelions & Co. or Dandelions Company. I got this from Etsy, and this is the Breath of Spring, I believe, palette. And it's so pretty. It's an indie brand that I had never heard of prior to my purchasing this palette. I saw a picture of it on Instagram. One of the indie accounts that I follow posted it, and I thought it was really pretty. And I went back and forth as to whether or not I should buy it or not, and went on ahead and bought it. This is what it looks like. I want to keep the plastic on it because there's this one right here, the glue it's popped out, so it's not stuck in there. But it doesn't have a mirror, but it has the names of the shadows here, and then these are the shadows themselves, and they're really pretty. They're a combination of, well, the bottom row is all shimmer, and then the top 2 rows are matte, and you know, it looks like a perfect palette for spring, and so it's appropriately named. But I just don't know. I mean, I feel like I have a lot of these colors already, and I don't know, I just haven't felt inspired. As soon as I bought it, I felt like I shouldn't have, why did I buy this? I shouldn't have bought this. And I've been going back and forth as to whether or not I'm going to keep it and try it, because I've never tried the formula before, and I'm interested to see what the formula is like. But then on the other hand, I feel like it's a palette that once I try it, I use it the one time and do a tutorial on it and give you my thoughts about it, it'll probably be a palette that I don't reach for ever again. I don't know. So I've been wondering if I should just give it away. I still haven't decided, because now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's really pretty. And so I don't know. I don't know. The jury is still out on whether or not I'm going to keep this palette, but definitely the verdict is I do regret buying it. This is one of my most recent purchases because I got some palettes today. So it's no longer my most recent purchase, but it was recently purchased, and it's from Viseart, and it's the Petit Pro 5 Soleil palette. This little teeny tiny palette right here. You have not seen it on my channel. I did buy this during the Sephora holiday sale last year. And look how tiny it is. It was on sale though. It was on sale for like $18, and it's regularly I think like $27 or something. And so I thought the price was really too much of a good deal for me to pass up. Didn't realize it was this tiny. I did have my eye on this from when it first launched because it's really pretty. And the reason I think I bought it, not just because of the color story, which is very pretty, but I've never tried any of Viseart's shimmer metallic shadows. And so this has a combination of the mattes and the shimmer metallic formula. So I really wanted to try that. But yeah, ever since I bought it, I'll look at it and I'm just not inspired to use it. I haven't been anyway. I think now that summer is around the corner, we're finally having summer and spring-like weather here. I think I'm gonna feel a little, because just looking at it now, I'm even feeling a little more interested. Like today, I thought about using this palette. I didn't, but I thought about it. So maybe, I mean, I know that I'm going to try it at some point, but I feel like if I had never bought this palette, then I would not have missed it at all. The next palette might be a surprise, but I think for those of you that follow me here, maybe not so much, because I have talked about this palette before, and it's from Pat McGrath. I know, Pat McGrath, a palette I regret buying from Pat McGrath. And it is the Blitz Astral Quad Ritualistic Rose. This was one of the holiday quads that were released last year, and it's not a bad palette at all. Okay, the quality is beautiful. It's your standard Pat McGrath quality. Okay, so not bad at all. Now, I only wanted this quad for 2 shadows. This pink one right here, beautiful dual chrome, and this beautiful one right here. So I didn't care nothing about these 2 shades right here. This gold one and this bronze one, I didn't care about those. So already I was gonna spend $65 on a quad when I only wanted 2 of the shadows. Okay, so that was problem number 1. And then I did use this in a tutorial, and I gave you my first impression on it, and the look that I created was, it was beautiful. I mean, it turned out beautiful. These are just, they're gorgeous. But I don't know, I just wanted it, expected it, hoped that it would have packed more punch than it did. They're just subtle. Her pink shadows right now just really haven't blown me away, really haven't been that satisfying for me yet. I did order the Divine Rose 2 palette, so I'm hoping those pinks are going to excite me in a way that other pink shadows from her have not. We shall see, but right now I would have been fine if I had never bought this. The next palette is from a brand that I used to go hoard for. Okay, I used to buy these palettes like I buy Pat McGrath palettes, and then when I found out that the owner was a racist pig, I had to stop purchasing. And now she's out of the brand. She's no longer in the makeup business. So this, of course, is from Kat Von D. When it was Kat Von D, now it's KVD Vegan Beauty. But this is the Pastel Goth palette. And this palette intrigued me because it's primarily pastels. And, you know, at the time, I didn't have any pastel shadows, and I was excited because, being a melanated sister, the thought of having pastel shades that would show up on me, and I had some confidence that they would, because Kat Von D's formula was really, really nice. I've always enjoyed this eyeshadow formula, always pigmented but blendable, and so I was excited for this palette, for this color story. But in using it, I found that the shades were pretty lackluster. They didn't show up on me in the way that I had hoped, and some of them, I think this blue was one of them. It's so long ago since I used this palette. Once I blended them out, just turned dark and it did not look like the color in the palette. These are some swatches from it, and yeah, this palette was very disappointing, which was surprising for me because, as I said, I really, really enjoyed the KVD formula, but this palette for me was a bust. I've been thinking about, you know, whether or not to declutter it. I go back and forth about whether or not I should. On the one hand, I would have no problems decluttering it because I don't use it because I don't particularly like it. But on the other hand, I kind of feel like it's a collector's item because they don't make it anymore, and it was a sought after palette for a minute. So yeah, but for right now, Coulda, shoulda done without it. Next is another palette that you have not seen on my channel as of yet, and it is from Pinky Rose. It's the Exotic Peacock palette. Actually, I just used this palette. I think I used 1 or 2 shadows in an upcoming tutorial. So if that tutorial has been done and posted, I've done it, I will link it up here. If not, it's on the way. And this palette is my only from Pinky Rose Cosmetics. This is what it looks like. I saw a lot of channels here on YouTube that focus more on indie brands. I've seen this palette in their videos, and it's an old palette, it's nothing new. And so I finally picked it up, and every time I open it, I'm like, why did I buy this? Why? I just do not feel inspired by this color story. Every time, and I quite often go in my drawer looking for palettes to use to make a look with. We'll pick this one, open it up. Every time I open it, I have the same thought, what am I gonna do with this? And then I close it back and I put it back in the drawer. And so I did force myself to use it one time before, and I was actually surprised. I did a look that I absolutely loved with it. It was absolutely beautiful. Filmed it, totally lost the footage, but it came out really, really nice. The matte shades were pigmented, blendable. They're really soft, so you do get a lot of kick up in the pan, but they were really blendable. They were nicely pigmented, and the shimmer metallics were very nice, and I had no problems whatsoever using this palette and created a look I absolutely love. And then still though, every time I go back and I open it up, I still have the same reaction. What am I supposed to do with this? So I think I'm going to start a series of eyeshadow tutorials using palettes I have to force myself to use, and this one will be one of them. Let me know if you'd like to see a tutorial with this palette alone, and that will force me to use it again. The next palettes, I have 2 from the same brand, Anastasia Beverly Hills. Yes, I have 2 palettes from her. One of these was supposed to be included in the first video, and I forgot about it. And then the other one, when I was thinking about palettes, I thought about this palette. So the first one is the Master Palette by Mario. I know, blasphemy. But yeah, if you know me at all, you know that neutral palettes are not, they're not my favorite. They don't really excite me too much. And this palette, to be honest with you, when I purchased it, didn't excite me, but I really fell into the hype. This was my first palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and everyone was like, oh my god, she's doing a collaboration with Mario, Kim K's makeup artist, and oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So I bought it for that reason, because I had never had any ABH shadows before, didn't have any palettes from the brand, and the hype was very real, and so I fell into it and I bought it. It was limited edition, so I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't get it now, it'll be gone forever. And yeah, could have totally done without this palette. If it were to disappear from my collection today, I probably wouldn't miss it. I know I wouldn't miss it. I've swatched it a number of times. I've used it, I think, once. I think this formula is better than all the other palettes that I have anyway from them, except the Jackie Aina palette, because there's no pressed pigments in this palette. This is a true eyeshadow palette, and so the shadows work beautifully, but the color story just does not speak to me on any level. And if I had it to do all over again, I would not buy this palette. The next palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills is the Riviera Palette, and this was a palette that was a departure at the time for ABH. Now with the Norvina palettes, this is like nothing special. But this was the most colorful palette that they had done. They really do a lot of neutrals, or they'll have pops of color, but for the most part the palettes were neutral. So this palette had actual color in it. Look at this bright pink and this purple, this yellow, so gold. So this really, like, oh my god, a colorful palette from ABH. I was all about it. You know, it's a combination of pressed pigments, which are not my favorite. The shimmers are really, really nice. But another palette that I used one time in a video, did a tutorial with it, and then never reached for it again. Put it in a drawer and completely forgot about it. So this is a palette that I do plan, that'll be in that series, palettes I force myself to use. I do plan to use this palette again, especially now. It's a perfect palette for spring, summer. But I don't know, it just doesn't call to me. But I'm going to try to use it again this year and see what I think. But definitely have thought about decluttering it. Wish I hadn't bought it. 2 palettes left to go, and they're both from brands I really like. Really love the eyeshadow formulas in both of these brands, but these palettes I don't love. And this one will not be, if you follow me, will not be a surprise. It's from Juvia's Place. You know which one it is. It's the Warrior 3. And it's my most recent purchase from Juvia's Place. And I tell you guys, I still have not used this palette. Still have not used it. I think, did I go in here for one shade? No, I haven't used it. I have not used it. I swatch it on a regular basis, but I don't use it. And these are the 3 that I always swatch. Every time I swatch this palette, I swatch the same 3 eyeshadows. These are blues right here, but I have yet to actually use this palette. I don't think I've used it yet. And it's just, you know, these shadows, these 2 rows I've seen before. Juvia's Place has similar eyeshadows and other palettes that I own, and these 3 blues I love, but I have to bring in other shadows to use with them. And yeah, I don't think I've used it yet, but I plan to one of these days. I'm gonna force myself to do so. But right now, yeah, really wish I hadn't bought this. And then last but not least, from Ace Beauté, who makes one of my favorite palettes, the Oceanic, well, comes the Flare palette. And this was a palette that I purchased last year during the Black Friday blackout of 2019. I think it was like 40% off, and you know, it never really appealed to me before, but because it was on sale, I like the formula. I have other palettes from them that I absolutely love. I said, okay, let me get this one. And I really got it for these 2 shadows right here. This bright, like, neon green and this brown. And I actually did do an eyeshadow look with this palette. Didn't do a tutorial with it, but I think I posted the look on Instagram. And I mean, it was okay. And I haven't even used these 2 shadows yet. I used the mauve tone shadows in this palette, and the look came out fine, but you know, I didn't love it. Nothing wrong with the formula. Absolutely nothing wrong with the formula. This shimmer is absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, just when I look at it, I don't know why my phone keeps buzzing. Sorry. When I open it, same thing like with that Pinky Rose palette. I open it and I just don't feel inspired. And I still don't. Let me know too if you'd like to see a tutorial with this palette. I want to do one. I want to do one. Will I ever? I'm not Sure, unless you ask for it. So those are my palettes, round 2 of palettes that I regret buying. Are there any palettes that you regret having purchased? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, then please give it a like and consider subscribing, because I do them along with makeup tutorials, hauls, swatches, and reviews every Saturday. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.